I stood on the pier at Sunset Cove Marina, watching my husband Gideon coil dock lines with the same quiet care he gave everything. Salt wind whipped my hair across my mouth, and I spat it out, annoyed. We were hosting 6 of his university friends on the sailboat he had restored by hand, and I had already complained twice about the lack of proper champagne flutes. Gideon had only smiled and said the tin camping mugs would do. He was 35, steady as the tides, and I had stopped noticing the way he steadied me too. During the sunset potluck on the foredeck, I grabbed another plastic cup of Prosecco and waved it in the air. Next time I marry someone, I am definitely marrying rich, I announced, laughing. I mean, imagine never worrying about whether the boat has a working ice maker. The circle of friends went still. Gideon froze mid-sip, his knuckles white around the mug. One woman coughed into her sleeve. Someone else stared at the horizon as if wishing to teleport there. Gideon set his drink down with deliberate care. Then you should have held out for that, Mara, he said, voice flat, because this is what I have. I rolled my eyes. Relax, it is a joke. But Gideon did not relax. He stood, shoulders rigid, and walked to the stern without another word. The party dissolved soon after. Below deck, I heard him zip his duffel bag. When I went looking, the berth was empty and the dinghy was already motoring toward the public dock. I told myself he needed space. He did this sometimes, took a walk, cooled off, came back calmer. I stayed on the boat, slept alone in the V-berth, and in the morning I texted him, I am making pancakes on the grill. Come home. No answer. By Wednesday, I drove to our apartment above the old print shop on Harbor Row. The door was ajar. Inside, my side of the closet gaped half empty. My grandmother's cedar jewelry box sat open on the bed, its velvet lining hollow. I yanked open the dresser drawer where I kept the emergency cash envelope and my passport. Gone. I called Gideon, straight to voicemail. I texted, where are you? I paced the narrow living room, heart hammering. My laptop chimed with a bank notification. I opened it and felt the floor tilt. Transfer of $23,400 to Gideon Holt, completed at 14/7. That was more than half my savings. I tried calling again. Blocked. I drove to the boat. The slip was vacant. A note taped to the dock, piling red key under the gas cap. Boat is yours. Do not contact me. I laughed then, a sharp, ugly sound that scared a gull into flight. He could not be serious, but he was. I showed up at the Marina Coffee kiosk the next afternoon because his best friend Caleb worked weekend shifts. Caleb took one look at me and turned the espresso machine to full volume. Steam hissed like a warning. Have you seen him? I asked over the noise. Caleb slid a latte past me to the next customer. He asked me not to relay messages. Come on, Caleb. He emptied my savings. Caleb met my eyes for the first time. You bragged about trading up while standing on the deck of the boat he rebuilt with calloused hands. What did you expect? I flinched. It was a dumb joke. Jokes land where they land, Caleb said. Maybe learn how to aim. I left, cheeks burning. I tried the climbing gym next. Gideon went Tuesdays and Thursdays. I loitered by the bouldering cave in tight leggings and a tank top like some desperate rom-com clique. He appeared, chalk bag slung over his shoulder, rope coiled like a sleeping snake. Our eyes met across the mats. For a moment I thought he might come over. Then he clipped into an auto belay and climbed fast, focused, unreachable. I waited until closing. When he descended, he walked straight past me. Gideon talked to me. He paused long enough to say, you already said everything I needed to hear. I will pay you back, okay? Just give me the money and we can figure this out. His jaw tightened. Keep it. Consider it tuition for the lesson. He left me standing amid the scent of rubber mats and chalk dust. I went to my mother for sympathy. She lived in a loft overlooking the rail yard, all exposed brick and succulents. I paced while she watered plants. He robbed me, I said. She set down the watering can. You humiliated him in front of people he respects. It was a joke. Mara, you have been making that same joke for years. Every time you point at a Tesla and say next time. Every time you sigh at our little beach shack and call it starter real estate. He heard you. I opened my mouth, closed it. She went on, gentle but firm. Maybe he finally believed you meant it. I left without the hug I had come for. I drafted long apologetic texts and deleted them. I mailed a cashier's check to his office address with a 2-page letter full of underlining and exclamation points. The envelope came back unopened. I started running into people who used to invite us to game nights and potlucks. Invitations dried up. At the farmer's market, I waved to Ellie, who used to share her sourdough starter with me. She gave a tight smile and turned away. Word travels fast in a harbor town. 2 weeks later, I spotted Gideon on the coastal trail that snakes above the dunes. He was not alone. A woman with sun-browned shoulders and a streak of zinc across her nose walked beside him. They were laughing. She touched his elbow when he spoke. The gesture looked natural, like habit. I felt something cold bloom in my chest. I doubled my efforts. I emailed links to couples therapists. I sent photos of us from the sailing trip to the San Juans with captions like "Remember this sunset." I even went to the bank and had them draft a new check for the full amount plus interest, just to prove I could. I left it under the windshield wiper of his truck. When I came back an hour later, the check was gone. The truck was gone too. On the 1st of the next month, the landlord knocked. Gideon had been the one who handled the lease. The rent had not been paid. I emptied what was left of my account to cover it. I sat on the floor surrounded by moving boxes I could not afford to fill and finally let myself replay the party. I saw Gideon's face go gray, the hurt he had hidden behind a calm voice. I heard my own laugh, bright and careless like a knife. I thought I was waiting for him to get over it. I thought I never imagined he could leave. I thought I was the one who left first, every time I opened my mouth. I found out through Instagram, of course. A mutual friend posted a picture of a gleaming catamaran in a marina down in Baja. Gideon stood at the helm, wind in his hair, the zinc-streaked woman beside him. The caption read "New crew, new horizons. Fair winds, amigos." I zoomed in on his left hand. No ring. I noticed the boat name freshly painted on the transom. Lesson learned. I laughed then, a sound like glass breaking. I live alone now in the apartment above the print shop. The landlord raised the rent. I sold the sailboat, could not afford the slip fees. I date sometimes, but the men flinch when I check their financials on the first drink. I cannot blame them. At night I sit on the fire escape and watch the harbor lights blink red and green. I think of Gideon somewhere far south, sun on his back, calloused hands on new lines. I think of the day he coiled those lines while I joked about trading him in. I understand now what I lost was never the money. It was the man who would have split every dollar with me anyway. If only I had seen the wealth I already held.